What is going on, guys? We're talking X-Men Apocalypse. This is Think About It reviews. And I just got done watching the film, and I gotta say, this film, with a lot of, there's been reviews out there already, negativity, like really, really negative reviews. And I really loved X-Men Days of Future Past. And the possibilities after that film could have been endless. Like, it really shook up the timeline. But when I was watching this film, it really made me think about the timeline, honestly. I was like, when I was watching this film, X-Men Apocalypse, I was like, man, has the timeline really screwed up throughout these films, honestly. After The Last Stand, and then X-Men Wolverine Origins, it just fucked it all up, and especially when you got Deadpool, which I'm pretty sure he's connected to this franchise because, he even fourth wall breaks it and stuff. It's so hard to go into these films now after watching Deadpool, but watching this film, the only thing I really kind of looked for was a little bit, little something new that I haven't seen before. But not only that, I was looking forward to Apocalypse. We all know Apocalypse from the X-Men anime series or the comic books. I know from the X-Men anime series. So I was really looking forward to see what Oscar Isaac did with the role as Apocalypse. And when I watched this film, I just felt like they kind of dropped the ball. He was no Thanos. He wasn't really built up either. He was only built up from the last film. So watching this, I think we all wanted Apocalypse on the big screen, but he just didn't work in here. He didn't look that great sometimes. He actually kind of didn't look, a lot of the close-ups, when they had close-ups to his face, I was like, oh, that's makeup right there. And it does take me back to the Power Rangers movie. I'm just like, I just not feeling, and plus Oscar Isaac is not a big guy, and I always pictured Apocalypse as a big guy. As much as I like Oscar Isaac, I just don't think this role was really fit for him. I didn't think he was horrible. By all means, I didn't think he was horrible, but I didn't think he was great. I mean, I just felt like he was just neutral in the center, and he wasn't a very great villain, honestly, for trying to do something here. But I feel like the script writing was done by Simon Kinberg, who did Days of Future Past. But there could be a lot of debate where I believe that Matthew Vaughn had a lot to do with Days of Future Past, and I think we needed Matthew Vaughn back in the helm, or at least be helping with the script when it came with this film, because I felt like Bryan Singer, after Days of Future Past, he did something really cool, bringing the younger cast and the older cast together. And it worked all well. It worked great. The direction was fantastic. But I really do think Matthew Vaughn did play a great role in that film. But it was fantastic. I thought it was one of the best superhero movies we've gotten in X-Men Days of Future Past. But in this film, it feels like they didn't know what, like, they just didn't. You would think they would kind of stay true to the timeline now, but it feels like the timeline is just even more screwed up now than it was. I'll talk about that in my spoiler review, but I really just feel like the timeline just so wacky and screwed up. It's hard not to really think about it when you're watching this film. And a lot of the new casting, we have a younger Cyclops, we have younger Jean. I really don't think Lady Stark should have been Jean Grey. I'm just saying. You had Nightcrawler in here, and of course you had Jennifer Lawrence reprising her role as Mystique. You have also Michael Fassbender as Magneto. And honestly, when I was watching this, I'm like, man, their counterparts actually kind of do a better job. Hank does a better job. I want to see Beast. I want to see Beast throughout the whole film. I don't want to see a human, Beast, Hank McCoy. I don't want to see that. I don't want to see a human Mystique. A Raven. I don't want to see that. I want to see her as Mystique, like Rebecca Romijn, But that's not what we get, and that's kind of throws me off a little bit. Where I think they kind of did that for budget cuts. They throw it in the film and in the script, like, oh yeah, I just, if the world doesn't see me, then I should just be like Mystique. I should just be human. I don't. They're like, why? Yeah, why aren't you blue? Like, because the world. Who cares? The world still has prejudice against us and stuff. I'm like, you guys just threw that in there because probably Jennifer Lawrence did not want to be in that makeup. Same with same with Hank. This movie is very flat. That's the best I could really describe without really getting into like super detailed on why I didn't really necessarily like this film. It's very flat. There's a lot of dialogue. There's hardly any action sequence. There's a lot of questions about you're not supposed to be in his head. You're not supposed to be asking yourself these questions, but these questions still arise. Like, why are they changing new suits after meet Apocalypse? Why is this thing happen? Why is Storm's hair go to black to white? Like, those kind of stupid questions. I know it's nitpicking, but it's like, I shouldn't be thinking about that crap, and I shouldn't be with my fist right here next to my cheek getting bored with this film. And that's exactly what happened. I got bored with the film. Quicksilver is awesome. I did talk shit about Quicksilver when the image came up of what he was looking like what the hell is this? But I eat my words, man. He is awesome. I loved him in Days of Future Past, and I really did like his role in here. There was another nitpick where I'm like, what the fuck, dude? But I really like Evan I think his name is Evan Peters, who was in American Horror Story, of course. I really did like him as Quicksilver in this film. I didn't really necessarily like Jean Grey. It's I guess I gotta really get into that in spoilers, but I just didn't think that the actress still doesn't. I feel like they just they're miscasting Jean a lot, and that's not the Jean I was hoping for. But I'm not saying she did a bad job. She did an okay job. I just don't like, Lady Stark as Jean. I'm just saying. Cyclops was fine in the film. You know what? The problem is kind of crazy going from Civil War to this film is the fact that these characters don't feel balanced. They don't feel like they get enough time to shine, especially Magneto. And Magneto felt like a freaking Wolverine origins film, like when we meet him. It's just like, I felt like I was watching Wolverine Origins for a little bit, honestly. I was like, why are they doing this? Get past this. Let's do something creative and different. That's the problem with the film. It's not creative and different. You juggle, you screw up the timeline for Days of X-Men Future Past. Honestly, it's a clean slate. You could do whatever you want. But I felt like Bryan Singer was just another slap, ship it out Bryan Singer type of film, like those early X-Men movies. And if you guys know me, I'm not a fan of those early X-Men movies. I didn't really like them, honestly. I think X2 was great. It was fine for what it was, but I don't think it's the greatest thing ever. I don't think it was the best superhero franchise ever. Of course, Last Stand wasn't done by him, but I feel like the first two X-Men that Bryan Singer created weren't that great, and I felt like that brought life to this franchise was in fact first class. And Days of Future Past, I still feel like Matthew Vaughn played a little bit bigger of a role than we all are knowing, because Bryan Singer did use a lot of the Matthew Vaughn stuff. I think that really shows. I'm not saying Bryan Singer is a hack director, because he's not. He's visually great. He knows how to tell a story. He knows his characters. He knows how to present something from the comic book strip onto the big screen. But I still feel like when it comes to script writing, Simon Kinberg, who did Days of Future Past, I feel like he missed it right here. He really went for the methodical, the godlike stuff with Apocalypse, what you should do, but it just was not executed right. The flow, basically the pacing of this film was just lackluster. You felt bored throughout the film. The one question I had was Olivia Munn. Was she going to do a great job? Because I've known Olivia Munn since G4 days, and now she's this big actress, apparently. I don't think she's the greatest actress in the world. I do think she's very attractive. She's a very attractive woman. And Psylocke, she actually really looks like the part. But if you're just that, the ending fight and then the fights that were in this film were just not lackluster. I feel like Olivia Munn, she didn't have too much to do. Like Angel didn't have too much to do. They present it in the trailers, but they don't really give them anything to do. And that's why you got to applaud what they're doing at Marvel, especially with Civil War. I don't want to just go to Marvel every time, but they're doing it better. They're doing it great. And I think this upcoming Suicide Squad is going to really shine a lot, balance the characters as well. And that's what the problem with X-Men Apocalypse was. They didn't balance the characters. If you're looking for Jubilee to be in there, she ain't in here. No way. Now I hear that they're going to go to the 90s era on the next film. Now here's where I'm worried. Like, they did introduce a lot of more characters in this film. I didn't necessarily like Nightcrawler's design, but I feel like the older Nightcrawler, of course, is better. I believe his name was Alan Cumming, but the Nightcrawler in this one isn't bad. It's just I feel like, come on, the Michael Jackson jacket, yeah, it's a little funny, but come on. The haircut I didn't necessarily like, but if they do go to the 90s, you have a chance to set up a lot of great things. You have a chance to really bring that 90s anime series to life. But I really feel like Bryan Singer kind of missed the point of rewriting the whole shit in Days of Future Past. And sure, there might be interesting stuff to come along the way, but when it comes to this film, this standalone film, I felt like the villain was weak. I felt like the story was flat. I felt like that some of the characters were just not, you really couldn't follow anybody and root for anybody because they're all over the place, and you couldn't really get to know the new characters, honestly. So I feel like X-Men is kind of a mess, Apocalypse, but it's not a horrible mess. It's not a fantastic mess. It's just meh. And when I say meh, I don't recommend X-Men Apocalypse to go to the theaters and watch it, because I think you're going to get bored with it. And I think you'd rather wait on Redbox or renting it. I just don't recommend you watching it at the movie theaters and paying $11.50, or even in IMAX. You might pay like what, $20 just to go watch it in IMAX. It's it's just a little bit of a boring film, especially with all the films that we've already gotten, especially since we got Deadpool. If you want to spend your money, go spend your money on Deadpool, because the one thing I was thinking about in this film was like, man, Deadpool really just called a lot of this shit, doesn't he? But there is one particular scene that was really great. It was a little somewhat similar to Days of Future Past. It was pretty funny. It was nicely done, but it's something you've seen before. A lot of the things you've seen before in this film. So I want to thank you guys on Dan to Make It and His Son. You can always hit me up and subscribe to my channel. Like the video if you like it and comment below. And also check out my other videos. Check out my other reviews. I did go watch Neighbors 2, and I thought it was pretty funny. So check out my review on that. So, like I always say, guys, grab a seat. Make sure you got some good popcorn to eat. I'll see you at the cinema.